After case preparation, the next step to reloading is to prime the case. Here I have an empty case, and here I have CCI 200 large rifle primers. These are the ones that I use at the moment. So here I'm using the Lee press and the little Lee auto feeder. This attaches to the Lee press and allows me to put in one primer at a time into this little device that is attached to the ram on the press, and on the upstroke of the press it inserts the primer into the case that will be attached here. So let's fill up the little device. As you can see, sometimes when you tip out the primers, some will be up the correct way and some will be upside down. So on this little device, it's got little ridges, so when you shake it around, the primers should come about the right way. Okay, now we have 6 primers that are around the right direction. Always ensure that your primers are around the right direction, because you do not want to insert a primer into a case the wrong way around. It could prove devastating if fired upon. Okay, and in this device the primers will run down this line and into this little clicker which attaches in here, so I can feed those down. Always, as part of a safety precaution when priming cases, always wear safety glasses, just in case there's an accident with a primer. Okay. Now we'll take our empty case. We'll feed in one primer, which attaches us into here. Put our empty case into the case holder, and with a few pounds of pressure you can feel the primer going into the case. That primer is now secured in that case. But always ensure to do a manual inspection. You can run your finger across, it feels flush, and also I call it the wobble test. If you put your case, the prime case, onto a flat surface, solid flat surface, and give it a little tick, it doesn't wobble. It always comes back to being square. That's a prime case, that's fine. With prime cases I always like to keep unprimed and prime ones into a different holder, so I always move them off to the different side of the bench. Here, take another case, insert one more primer with the auto feeder, insert the case onto the case holder, bring it down and gently squeeze it, a few pounds of pressure, and that now inserted the primer into the case. Another flush, little wobble test, that's fine. I'll move it over into the other holder. Another primer, another case. Notice I'm always keeping my hands away from the direct of the case, just in case there is something that goes on, there's an accident. At least my hands won't get burnt as badly if they're down beside the case when I'm putting in the primer. Take it out, return the ram to the correct position, wobble test fine, case is flush. Take another case, squeeze in, wobble test, inspection, it's flush. Take a last case. Sometimes when I see with this device, it's a great feeder when it's full. When you come down to the very last few primers, it can get a little bit peggy of when it wants to put in a primer. So it might take a couple of goes and a little bit of tapping just to knock your primer into the little feeder. Okay, primer has been seated. Bubble test. Looks good. Manual inspection. It's flush. Fingers. We'll try and get our last primer in. Sometimes it's good to give it a little shake. Reattach it. There we go. Okay. And seat the primer. Primer is now seated. Bubble test is fine. Feels flush with the fingers. And that's the case primed. The next step will be to create a load with the RC based charge master that I have here. The powder I will be using will be Vivitori N160, and my preferred load that I've worked up in the past is 44 grains of N160, and that's what I'm going to do next.